not exactly a stranger when it comes to the midsize family sedan segment. The current entry, the Sonata, has been in the States since 1989, so 25 years is a long time. Now, what I'm sitting in is the 2015 Sonata. Now, this actually represents the 7th generation of Hyundai's popular midsize family sedan segment. Now, if you guys know, I stress that this market is very competitive. I mean, you have stalwart players like the Honda Accord, the Toyota Camry, the Nissan Altima, just to name a few. And the Sonata actually fits in quite well into this segment, especially when Hyundai completely redesigned the car back in 2006 and made it larger and better lines to compete with its competitors. Now, the previous generation Sonata was known as a trendsetter. It was a very stylistically radical car. It introduced the swoopy sedan profile that a lot of midsize sedans followed suit. It represented a 4-cylinder only engine lineup where Hyundai got rid of the V6 engine. And for 2015, this new generation, Hyundai basically is looking to refine the elements of the previous model, which, to be honest, didn't really age that well in terms of its design. So Hyundai made this design more classy, more elegant, and it made the interior a lot more premium. Now, you can see at the front of the car, it has that traditional Hyundai look, that large grille, those swept back headlights. My tester is the limited model, and every model will still come with those LED daytime running lights in the lower part of the fascia. It's actually a very nice styling element of the car. It's the first midsize family sedan to come standard even on the base trims with that signature LED feature. It's a very nice feature. Now, looking at the side profile of the car, the Sonata looks bigger, and it is bigger. It's about 1.5 inches longer than the previous model, about 1.5 inches wider as well. So you will have a much bigger car to deal with, but it's still along the lines of the rest of the family sedan segment. The Honda Accord, the Volkswagen Passat are all about the same size. Now, my tester is the limited. You can still choose this car with several trims. There's the base SE, the Sport, the Eco, which slides in between the Sport and SE, and then the limited trim. And then you can take your pick between the base 2.4 engine that my tester has, or the 2.0T badge, which is the turbo, the V6 replacement that you'll see on the back, where there'll be a 2.0T badge. The Eco is actually a new model for 2015, and it's got a new 1.6-liter turbo engine, which is saved for another review. Now, this limited model with the 2.4 has these 17-inch alloy wheels as standard equipment. In fact, every Sonata will have alloy wheels as standard equipment. The same route that Honda went with the Accord. There's no more plastic wheel covers even on the base model. Now, coming to the rear of the car, my limited tester also has these LED taillights, and you can see the rear roofline doesn't slope as much. And Hyundai fixed that from the previous model, because the old model, when you wanted to get into the back seat, it's basically going to take your head off with the limited amount of headroom. So Hyundai did address that and made the cabin much more spacious. My limited tester also has these nicely integrated dual outlet exhaust. If you guys have a 2.0T model, it'll have the quad outlet exhaust, just to let you know that you've got the more powerful engine option. So the interior of this all-new 2015 Sonata is another area where Hyundai looked to address the previous model's shortcomings. You can see my particular tester has these beautiful-looking brown leather seats. The seats themselves look very high quality. It looks like they could actually belong in a luxury sedan, if you ask me. Now, I'm stepping inside the vehicle. As typical with a mid-sized family sedan, it's really easy to get in, and I'm greeted with a very nicely finished cabin. In fact, I really like the design elements of this all-new generation. I really wasn't a fan of the the swoopy angles of the previous model. It wasn't very ergonomically sound. It also didn't feel very premium. Now, this limited tester comes standard with Hyundai's new keyless access system, or their new key fob, push button start, smart entry. That's standard equipment on the limited. So basically, put your foot on the brake and push the button to start the engine. And then, of course, what you're hearing is the same carryover 2.4-liter direct injection 4-cylinder that most buyers in this class are probably going to get. Now, shutting the door, the window is automatic up-down for the driver and the front passenger. Most cars in this class come with that. Now, you can see here in terms of the rest of this interior, like I said before, it's a very classy, elegant interior. It's a much improved cabin versus the previous model. I really like Hyundai's new 8-inch infotainment display. This is part of the tech package that my limited tester gives you. You can see this is the home screen that gives you all the nice audio information, the nav, the half size of the nav screen. Now, the materials quality is also up as well. You have this fake wood grain accents, which, you know, they actually do look pretty fake, but I like the combination with the brown and the black. It doesn't look bad. If you guys go for the Sport trim, it'll have some faux aluminum as opposed to the faux wood. But you can see the materials, they're all soft touch. There's even some faux or some stitching leather here over the instrument panel hood. And when you look at the rest of the door panels here, same soft touch materials as the dashboard. It is hard plastic down here, but there's a real aluminum door handle there. More leather stitching here, and then this is softly padded for the armrest, although I kind of wish Hyundai actually made this leather stitched like some of its competitors do. The steering wheel is also nice. If you guys go for the sport model, it'll actually have a flat bottom steering wheel, but this is the limited. The SE also has the same steering wheel. It's a very nice, high quality finished leather, nice bolstering extension. The steering itself is another area where Hyundai addressed. I'll get into that in the test drive. They really improved the steering response and feel of this all-new generation. Now, looking at the center stack here, you know, I've driven several of the competitors for the midsize family sedans, and I have to say Hyundai's layout is one of the most logical and easy to use. I love the climate control area here with lots of big buttons, good knobs, well labeled. Same with the audio display here, lots of good buttons that are well labeled. When you go to the radio display here, of course, you're going to have your traditional sources here, AM, FM, XM. When you go to information here, you're going to have Pandora. You also have what Hyundai calls SoundHound. If you push that, that's basically the app that'll listen to whatever music is playing, and it'll tell you, it'll use basically the 4G of your phone to tell you what song is playing that it heard. So that's a really nice feature. When you go to the map display here, this is Hyundai's traditional navigation system. It's a very good map display. It's a very nicely rendered screen. I think it's very class competitive. In fact, I think that Hyundai really nailed this. For example, if you look at the current Honda Accord, it's got two screens, a 5-inch screen here and then an 8-inch screen there. Why? You don't need two screens. This is all you need, really. And Hyundai pretty much nailed that. You can see here, going to your media sources, it'll give you your Bluetooth audio, Bluetooth connectivity. That's standard on every Sonata. BlueLink is Hyundai's in-car telematics. It basically competes with GM's OnStar, Ford's Sync services. You have several buttons here on the auto-dimming rearview mirror that'll connect you to a live operator. You also can look at some driving info, some diagnostics for the car, stuff like that. So it's a really nice system that keeps you well informed. Now, you can see here the rest of the center stack. A 6-speed automatic transmission is your only transmission option. There's no manual available on the Sonata anymore. When you put the vehicle in reverse, you got a backup camera that's standard on the Sport and Eco trims and up. You can see it has distance, it has trajectory, a very nice, big, colorful screen that gives you a great view of what's behind you. There's a nice little storage compartment here that has your USB, your aux port in there. You can actually put your phone right there. I really like the storage compartments that Hyundai gave you with this new model. Nice big cup holders. The center console here is a good size. There's some storage there. And when you look at the gauges, the limited model actually has optional gauges, or different gauges from the rest of the other trims. The Sport will kind of have a different design. I really like that infotainment display in the center between the Speedo and the TAC. You can basically cycle through. It'll give you your driver assistance stuff, your radio sources, tire pressure. You can change the settings if you want, your trip computer, which will give you your range, fuel economy, stuff like that. I mean, all the information you need to know, and the gauges themselves, they look classy, they look premium. My particular tester, which has the tech package, has that gigantic panoramic sunroof, which you can close the shade if you don't want all this sun coming in. But I mean, overall, I love the features in here. You have heated and cooled seats, a heated steering wheel. I mean, all these features at this price point, Hyundai's pretty much nailing the value quotient, as they pretty much always have. Now, checking out the rear seat of the Sonata, you can see it's actually been much improved, and this is an area where a lot of family sedan buyers really care about. So legroom back here is plentiful, and you don't have to duck your head as much because that sloping roof line doesn't try to kill you. You can see that my limited tester here has plenty of foot space underneath here. You have rear seat vents. You have an armrest right here with cup holders. The seats themselves, they are 60-40 split fold down. And then you can see, of course, here you have heated rear seats. That's another Hyundai thing that they like to taunt about. And then, of course, you have these rear manual sunshades. So, I mean, overall, the back seat is a great place to spend time. So one feature that carried over from the Genesis to the Sonata is Hyundai's smart access to the trunk. Basically, have the key on you and stand back here for 3 seconds. The trunk automatically opens, basically if your hands are full. You can see looking at the trunk, it's a huge trunk, 16.5 cubic feet of space. Like I said before, the opening is large. You do have these hinges that crush your cargo, but the seats fold down 60-40. It's a very wide opening. Like I said, you have a spare tire underneath here, so at least Hyundai still gives you that. Overall, the trunk is a very generous place. Now, coming under the the hood of this 2015 Sonata, this is really one area where Hyundai didn't really change too much. It's basically got the same carryover engines as the previous generation. What you're looking at is the volume engine. This is the engine that most people are going to get. It's the 2.4 liter gasoline direct injection. That's what GDI stands for. It's a double overhead cam, 24 valve, variable valve timing. It's pretty modern stuff and synonymous with the class. Hyundai actually downgraded the numbers for 2015. This four-cylinder makes 185 horsepower and 181 foot-pounds of torque. It's pretty class competitive still. The Honda Accord makes the same amount of power. It makes a little bit more power than a Camry, than an Altima. Some competitors make a little bit more, including the Optima. Now, if you guys want the Eco model, that's going to have an all-new 1.6 liter turbocharged engine with 177 horsepower and 195 foot-pounds of torque. Now, the 2-liter turbo's a different review. That's really the engine that got a big downgrade. It actually makes 245 horsepower now and 260 foot-pounds of torque. That's a big 30 horsepower drop from the previous model. Now, Hyundai says that they lowered the numbers, but they beefed up the mid-range. They improved the power down low, which is where most people are going to notice it. Let's get out on the road and figure out if that's the case. Now, fuel economy is kind of all over the place, and Hyundai's gotten some knock in the past for overstating their MPG. My limited tester is rated at 24 in the city, 35 on the highway, and about 28 combined on regular gas. The car has an 18.5 gallon gas tank. That's pretty cost competitive. If you guys go for the SE, it's going to do a little bit better, about 25, 37. And then, of course, the Eco model will do the best at about 28, 38 MPG. And if you guys go for the 2-liter turbo, that's rated at 23, 32. It's all paired through a 6-speed automatic, except for the Eco that has a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. But let's get out on the road. All the Sonatas are front-wheel drive and see how she does, shall we? So I'll admit, I was not a fan of the way the previous 6th generation Sonata drove. Basically, Hyundai gave us a sedan that looked very sporty, that looked very stylish, but its driving dynamics really lagged behind the competition. Now, when Hyundai redesigned this car, they stressed a much more refined interior, a quieter cabin, more space, and better driving dynamics. So let's get out on the road and see if that's really the case with this all-new Sonata. So this is still a family sedan, so you kind of have to lower your expectations. This is not a sports sedan by any measure, but in terms of the rest of the competition, the Sonata's driving dynamics are definitely much improved. The engine still isn't my favorite four-cylinder in the class. It doesn't have the best noises, and it's a little bit laggy, and there's a little bit of rev hang in this car. Every time I lift off the throttle, the revs kind of just hang there like it's stuck there or something like that. It's kind of weird, actually. Now, the 6-speed automatic is also somewhat of a slow shifter. That's the trademark 6-speed automatic that I've come to know from Hyundai's. It doesn't shift very quickly. I kind of wish it did, especially since I have it in sport mode right now. The car actually has 3 different drive modes. There's normal, eco, and sport. Now, surprisingly, my favorite drive mode is actually the normal. In sport mode, the steering gets too heavy. It feels artificially heavy, but it doesn't really give you any more road feel. Now, when you have the steering in normal, it actually gives you excellent road feel. Precision is good. I mean, it's a little numb, to be honest, but so are the rest of the cars in the class, but it doesn't have that nervousness that the previous generation Sonata had. So I'm glad to say that Hyundai has definitely fixed the steering. It's just not up to the sports sedan levels that some of the class, like the Mazda 6, the Nissan Altima, or the Honda Accord give you. Now, being driven normally like a famous sedan will be, the Sonata pretty much excels. In terms of the noise levels, Hyundai did succeed in reducing cabin noise. The road noise is down, engine noise is still a little bit up, the wind noise is down. I mean, the cabin's refinement is definitely there, and the car definitely tries to emulate some near luxury sedans, especially with this all-new interior, the feel. Now, the visibility in here is also pretty good. The swoopy design languages of the previous model, they've been toned down, so my view out of the front is good, my view out of the back is good, the side mirrors are quite large, and then of course my tester also has the blind spot monitoring that's part of the ultimate package on my limited tester. Now, most family sedans are used all the time for multiple purposes, so they have to excel as an excellent daily driver, and the Sonata Sonata pretty much nails that category. It's a very comfortable, easy car to drive. It doesn't really have many annoyances unless you're an enthusiast like myself. Then you're kind of annoyed with the fact that it's not very sporty to drive. But setting that aside, the Sonata drives kind of like how a Camry probably would. It's been a while since I've driven the current. I haven't driven the new Camry yet, so that would kind of be this car's main competitor. But the quietness is good. The seats, they have good support. They're just a little bit hard for my taste, but the Honda Accord kind of has hard seats as well. I had a TLX tester last week, and I got used to the plush, comfortable seats of that car, and it definitely makes the TLX feel like it's a class above this family sedan segment, in case those of you are cross-shopping it with a normal family sedan. Now, in terms of the rest of the driving dynamics, I mean, they're fine. Most people are going to get in this car and think that it's smooth, it's comfortable, it has good visibility, the driver assistance stuff is good. I mean, my tester has radar cruise control. It'll come to a stop and go in traffic. I mean, that feature was unheard of in this class years ago, and Hyundai is including it on this limited trim. It doesn't have active lane keep assist or automatic braking. That's reserved for the Genesis, for higher end luxury vehicles, but it's nice that Hyundai includes like lane departure warning, forward collision warning, basically the passive systems to keep you from getting into trouble. Now, with 185 horsepower on tap, this car is not what you'd say fast. I mean, it's peppy for most people. It'll get you to 60 in about 8.5 seconds. That's pretty class competitive. Slower times would be a little over 9 seconds. The Subaru Legacy, the Chrysler 200 are one of the slower entries in the class. The Honda Accord will smoke this car. The Mazda 6 will smoke this car, so keep that in mind. You guys might want to go for the turbo, or even that 1.6 Eco model has a little bit more power. Now, in terms of the driving dynamics, Hyundai really said that they improved that, and it's much more sporty to drive this car. I gotta say, going around this curvy back road here, the steering is much improved. The suspension stays relatively flat, but of course you're reminded constantly this is a family sedan. But I have to say, I am relatively impressed. Again, the car's steering feels better at normal. When you plop it into sport mode, it gets too heavy. It feels fake. It feels like they're substituting effort for road feel. And I really have always had a gripe with Hyundai in the past about that. And I really wish that they would get the sport setting tuned properly. I drove the 2015 Genesis, and that did have much better steering feel versus this car. And you can see I've just basically gotten really spoiled, and I think this car could use more power, but for the majority of people, this 2.4 will be enough power, so keep that in mind. So coming up to the conclusion of this review, the 2015 Sonata certainly makes a strong case for itself. It's very class competitive, it's very competent, it's just not very memorable for me. I mean, they could have really elevated the driving dynamics to differentiate it from the Optima, but they really made this car out feel a lot like the Optima, which is not bad. I mean, I like the Optima, I like the design language of this car, and of course, I like the price of this car. The current Sonata, this new one, starts at about $21,150. That actually makes it the least expensive midsize family sedan you can buy with an automatic transmission. If you guys are going to compare its peers like the Mazda 6 or the Volkswagen Passat, it's a little bit cheaper than this car, but they have manual transmissions. The Hyundai comes standard with a 6-speed automatic. If you guys are going to look at the Honda Accord, the Toyota Camry, they're going to be about $2 grand more than this car with the automatic transmission for the Accord, for example. Now, my particular limited tester starts at about $26,500, which still represents a great value. This car has a lot of features in it for the money and a great warranty. Now, of course, there are two big option packages that my tester has. The tech package will roll in that big sunroof, the navigation system, the Infinity Premium audio system, the heated and cooled seats. That's about $3,500 extra. It's a really nice value. It makes the interior feel a lot more premium with these premium features. And then, of course, the Ultimate package rolls in the adaptive cruise control, the automatic braking or the auto brake hold, the electronic parking brake system, the driver assistance tech like lane departure warning, forward collision warning. That's another $1,500 on top of that. All in, my tester stickers for $32,500. Now that makes this car a pretty good bargain, although $32,000 is still a lot of money for a family sedan, but that's really where the class is headed. If you guys want the 2-liter turbo engine, you have to top on another $2,000 on top. I mean, all in, the Sonata is going to be about $34,500 with every option and the up-level turbo engine. Now, that makes the Sonata roughly in the same class price-wise as its competitors, but Hyundai does give you a few more features like the heated back seats, the heated steering wheel, heated and cooled seats. You can't get that on the Honda Accord Touring, for example, and it's about $1 grand more than the Sonata. So In terms of price, Hyundai's pretty much nailed it in terms of the low end, where it's the least expensive family sedan with an automatic. But if you're going to compare this car to the high end, be prepared to shell out almost the same amount of money for a vehicle that has more features, a better warranty, it's nicely styled, and it's a very competent car. Just keep in mind that if you want the sportiest offering, this is not it. If you want something that offers the most performance, the quickest offering, there are better choices out there, but Hyundai Sonata still represents a great middle ground. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed my overview of this 2015 Hyundai Sonata. If you're in the market for a mid-size family sedan, make sure you check out this all-new 7th generation. It does deserve a look on your buyer's list. If you guys are interested in what I'm testing, any updates from me, you can follow me on Instagram. Make sure you like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for even more reviews. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you all in the next review.